I can't completely promise Zoom won't do something weird. So, yeah. So welcome. Welcome, welcome. This is a 3-hour flash training. Okay. Making sure that everybody, if you need more, you're welcome to come to the 6-hour flash training. I do those fairly regularly. I'm going to be adding more. The difference is that it's the same training, it's just there's a lot more practicum. In the 6-hour training, we actually do breakout groups and practice it together. You're all welcome to do that. I'll share that link with you a little later if you're interested. So awesome. Let's see, maybe page two. Start on page two. So good. For those of you that just joined, I will put in chat again the link to the. Oh, hold on. I'll put in the link to the flash training again, put it in chat. Good. Again, page two, a little bit about me, just a little bit. I'm Tom Zimmerman. I'm in Cleveland. I'm a therapist. I'm an EMDR trainer and consultant, and I've been out there a while talking about the intersection of kind of how we do, how we train you really to do trauma work and how you might need to translate that for really pervasively traumatized clients on your caseload. So, yeah, I've been out there podcasting now for years, and I'm one of those people that says, you know what? The way we train you doesn't always match. So it's almost like we train you to treat the clients you see the least, right? Like really healthy, resourced people that know how to slow down, be present, notice, that already have a mindful practice, that already, we already know what the heck noticing is or all of that. So yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, EMDR with complex trauma is a lot of what I've been doing. Um, yeah. Um, this this training is about Flash, which is something that I do a lot with my clients with complex trauma when they aren't healthy enough or don't have a window of tolerance enough to work in more intensive ways. And you don't need to believe it, but I'm just telling you, Flash works when darn near nothing else will. Right? So after you've done probably 50 Flash sessions, after you've done it about 50 times, your clients will probably resolve in Flash whatever they target 19 times out of 20 in a single session. Okay, and that sounds pretty ridiculously unbelievable, but I will work with you endlessly and for free until you see that. Okay, so that is not controversial. I mean, I'm gonna die on that hill. That there are ways of doing Flash really well, really, again, safely in quotes, because we are working with trauma and things can go bad, right? Pretty easily. But um, let me put it this way. Has anybody done EMDR therapy as the client? Have you ever heard of a client doing EMDR and just not doing well for days and days after? It's that rarely, and again, I'm not saying anything bad about EMDR. I love EMDR. I'm an EMDR trainer. I'm just saying EMDR is so intensive, it might cause your client to decompensate, right? And in Flash, we're going out of our way to not activate them. We're going out of our way to quite literally work down here, right? And if any difficulties come, we stop, we're going to deal with that. So it's it's I don't Flash makes trauma work fun. It just does. It makes trauma work fun. And you're gonna need to see it. You're gonna probably need to see it to believe it. But to do it, we're on page three. And to do it, we have to do two very non-intuitive things. So you don't get to heal this way doing just anything. And Flash requires that we do two non-intuitive things. And one of those things is we have to look at the memory incredibly fast, right? We're looking at the memory so quickly that sometimes we may not even know what's distressing in that little piece of it that we glance. Okay, so we're just looking at it lightning fast. So when you do that, when you open the door to awareness and look at something really quickly, only a little bit of it can come out at a time. So the way we manage activation in Flash is we manage time. And when you really make the time window very short, there's only a tiny bit of activation that can come out in that amount of time. So we look at the memory lightning fast, and then we just push it out of our awareness. We'll talk about why. We push it out of our awareness, and then we do something we never do when we've activated trauma. Do you know what we do? We immediately turn to something pleasant, engaging, funny. Puppies, right? Puppies play wrestling on YouTube, right? Or kittens, or your favorite, like your favorite restaurant making your favorite sandwich or whatever it is, right? Your favorite watching bubbly hot pizza coming out of the oven, or golden retrievers chasing tennis balls in fields of hay, right? Like whatever it is, right? Whatever kind of crazy stuff. Have you all seen the video? They dress dogs up in costumes. You'll see the little chihuahuas that are dressed up as like waiters in their black tuxedos carrying wine bottles, right? We're looking for something. It's the funny things kids say, right? Videos. We're looking for something that's so funny that if it's accidentally playing on your phone in a meeting, you might burst out laughing. That's the kind of thing we pivot to. So we you don't normally do that with trauma, do you? Right? We don't, that's not how we usually do trauma. So so Flash involves the combination of those two things, microactivation and then having a back to back to back to back to back to back pleasant experience that shows your nervous system that little bitty thing that I just brought into working memory isn't happening right here, right now. Okay. So we're leveraging kind of a lot of what we've learned from neurobiology the last 20 years for what's in at least this version of Flash. Other versions of Flash have their own thoughts about what's going on there. This version is built around a very specific understanding of how humans heal. And it shapes how we do this approach. So when Flash is done well, the memory fully resolves, it permanently, adaptively, forever resolves. And if you are an EMDR therapist, you know what that looks like. If you're not an EMDR therapist or you haven't like experienced in whatever way transformational trauma therapy that in a transformational trauma therapy, you haven't seen healing up close, it may be hard to believe that in 35 minutes, somebody could completely update a memory so that their experience of it forever after is completely different than how it was before. So yeah, Flash resolves memories and resolves them using every metric that you would consider the memory resolved in EMDR or in any other way. So you're just going to need to see that to believe it. I'm not saying, so I'm not saying that the journeys are the same, right? So if you get on an airplane in Cleveland and you fly to San Francisco, you'll be in your body in San Francisco. Does that make sense? United Airlines will get you there. Okay. If you get in your car and you drive to San Francisco from Cleveland, when you get there, you'll be in your body. there, right? The same metric. But what you learn about yourself in the world is going to be different depending on how you get there. So I'm not saying that the journeys are identical. If you want to learn a whole lot about yourself, bike, right? Bike there, right? So, and when you get there, you'll be what's left of your body. You know what I mean? In San Francisco, when you get there. Um, so yeah, flash results memories. Page 4. Let's look at the steps in this version of Flash. Just glance at the steps, especially the parts that are bold. Develop a container, develop a calm scene, identify the memory, focus on the calm scene, quickly peek at the bad memory, and then we do a loop from 5 to 4, 5 to 4, 5 to 4, 5 to 4, over and over and over. We do that loop until the client can't find what's distressing in the memory, and then we go to step 6, where we play the memory like a video, and the first little bit of distress, we stop, catch it, send it out of awareness, do our calm scene with blinks, until the client can play the whole video and there's no distress on any channel. Okay, beginning to end. Whole video, there's no distress on any channel. Okay, and then when we're done, we can process a future scene. In the same way we process the past memory, we just change the tense. Okay, good. So I'm going to walk through these steps a little bit slower. And then we're going to walk through them much slower in a little while. So step 1, develop a container. The container is not for the memory. What's the container for? The container is for a little bitty tiny slice of the memory that comes out when we look at the memory lightning fast. So let's imagine this is the memory. Okay. Now, this memory is in your brain where trauma is. Okay. And I'm not activating the whole memory. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm thinking about that memory is staying in your brain. This is not EMDR where we poke it, poke it, poke it, poke it, and bring a lot of it into working memory. It's not what we're doing. We're leaving the memory in your brain, and then we're bringing a single bean of it into working memory at a time, and then we're pushing it out of awareness. So the little bitty bit, so let me give an example of that because we're speaking metaphorically. You may not know what I mean by little bean. What I mean is if a memory that's very, very long about a conflict with someone's father, and the father's like, "You're so stupid," right? That's only like 3 seconds. But are we getting all that? No. You know what we're getting? Yep. Or we're just getting just the tiniest bit. And even as I say that, doesn't that feel a little bit unsatisfactory? Does that make sense? Can you imagine that many people are going to want a catharsis that? Does that make sense? They're going to want to play it until it like really kicks you in the chest like a horse. The problem with it kicking you in the chest like a horse is that Flash just stopped working. So we got to really, really, really get a tiny piece of it. And then that little bean, that little piece, that little frame, that little single bit of an emotion, that little something, tiny bit of something, that is what goes in your container. And then that goes out of awareness. Okay, so whatever it is, you look at that memory lightning fast, whatever comes out in that millisecond goes in your container and goes out of awareness. And why does it go out of awareness? It doesn't go out of awareness because it's bad. It goes out of awareness because we need all of our awareness for your pleasant scene, your YouTube video, your whatever, right? Because it's all of the work is done in that YouTube video. All of the work that we're doing in Flash is done in a pleasant state. This is really different than how we normally do trauma work. Okay. Now, if you're going to be in a pleasant state almost the whole session, we have to develop it. And I don't like the pleasant scene to be imaginary because you'll see I'm only giving you 5 seconds to be in it. And then I'm taking you out of it and you go back in. I take you out of it and you go back in, right? So I don't want you to imagine it because I'm only giving you a few seconds to be in it. I don't want you to make the beach and make the clouds and make the sunshine and make the waves. There's not time. So I want to find a YouTube video of a beach or of puppies or something funny or your favorite comedian or highlight clips from The Office or Parks and Rec or whatever, right? Highlight clips from your favorite show, right? And if I were doing Flash, I mean, one of the funniest things I've seen in a while, I haven't seen it until recently, I hadn't seen it in a while, but I mean, my goodness, the highlight clips from, shoot, give me a second. Oh, I forget the name of the con. It's just hilarious, hilarious. But um, that's what we're finding. So we need to find that. What is it that really shifts your affective state quickly? And in step two is where we find it. And I mean, my clients, again, you're going to have curmudgeon clients. And they're like, well, I hate people. I'm like, okay, I know that. Um, let's find on you. What's okay? Nothing. Okay. Well, do you know what I know? I know that you love things clean. As a matter of fact, your counter is probably cleaner right now than any dish in my house, right? Why don't we try power washing videos, right? Or do we just watch somebody power wash and clean sidewalks? Do you know what I mean? So we're going to find something that shifts the client's affective state really quickly. And then that's going to be their pleasant scene. So in step one and step two, we have other resources. We do a shop vac. And if you're a somatic practitioner, you may be like, Tom, we're not going to shop vac distress out of the body. You know how much time I spend helping people get into their bodies? I do too. But sometimes if you have activation in your body in flash, that's a problem. We got to vacuum it out and quickly get it away from you. So just because we're not doing things in flash that the client normally does or you normally do, there's 167 other hours in the week when we can do that. Okay. So yeah. And people say, but I like this. I want a catharsis. I want a whatever. Well, do you know what you can't people people like to also smoke when they travel, but you can't do that on United Airlines, right? You want to travel with your windows down. You can't do that on United Airlines, right? We'll be a popsicle right before we arrive. Yeah. This is a literal video. It is the video that is their calm scene is a video. It is not a mental playback of a video. They are literally watching YouTube with their actual eyes. Okay. Also, suppose it's not that, but suppose they have a pet that they really love. Okay. The calm scene can be you petting your actual dog with your actual hands through telehealth session. Does that make sense? Or I don't know, if maybe they're loving on your service animal if you have one, or your emotional support animal if you have one, right? It can also be a Spotify playlist. Yeah. So again, can pictures work? Maybe. The problem is people don't stare at pictures for hours a day. We don't organize our lives around dissociating into pictures. We organize our lives around dissociating into videos. Does that make sense? So maybe, but some people may be able to do that, but I really want it to be engaging. And we seem to I mean, most people tend to do better dissociating using video games. Okay. Again, it can also be a Spotify playlist. Your favorite Spotify playlist, not your breakup playlist, not your angsty when you were 12 years old in your room, feeling like the whole world was against you playlist. Does that make sense? Not that playlist, but your power anthem. I got this. Do you know what I mean? Your Aretha Franklin playlist. Your, you know what I mean? You're like, your whatever playlist. Your, yeah, power ballad playlist, something. I don't know. The playlist that that shifts your affective state quickly. It shifts how you feel in the present moment quickly. So good, good. The other resource is grounding, sensory grounding. Can you imagine that we have a client look at a memory really quickly and then the memory just grabs them and pulls it in, pulls them in it, right? That's not a catastrophe if we can ground our clients quickly, right? So we have four resources that are taught in step one and step two. Container, which is not your EMDR container because we're using it completely differently than your EMDR container. Okay. The So the container, the shop vac, we'll talk about shop vac in a little while. Good. Um, and then your calm scene and then sensory grounding. So those four resources kind of form the four walls of our chimney that allow us to do this work safely. Okay. Sensibly. And again, we're going to walk through these resources more in a little while. I'm going to teach you how to do them. We're going to do them together. Okay. And then step three, after the resources are in place, we're going to start to work with a small memory. Well, Thomas, if Flash is so amazing, why would we start with a small memory? Do you have a brand new car and immediately take it to the interstate to see how fast it can go? And if you do, would you do that with your client driving? I wouldn't. So no, this is not a good idea. So we're going to start somewhere to test, to make sure that the client can do this stuff. Because when we get to the big stuff, I want them to have this dance down. Because when we get to the big stuff, that's going to be trying to do this dance on a tilt-a-whirl. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So basically, how do we help them find a piece of the memory or just something that's accessible? I would say, did anything happen that's frustrating in the last few months? Do you have an annoying neighbor, right? Something more recent? Do you have an argument with a knuckle? Do you have any knuckleheads that live in your house? Maybe we do it with a teen, right? A teen that you love, but also some mornings you kind of look at your hands and like they would fit right around that kid's neck, So maybe that, right? Or if your client went to college, almost everybody had a jerk professor, right? Almost everybody, like, you know what I mean? Something, again, a neighbor that didn't do their trash right, and then your yard got raccoons scattered trash over your yard. Whatever. We're going to start somewhere. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's small and tolerable and doesn't connect with truly existential awfulness. We're going to start somewhere. Okay. In step three, here's the dilemma though. We need to remember this is the memory. We need to point at it and select it, but we need to be careful not to activate it. Do you know why? Because we're trying to engage the memory a being at a time. And if the client starts telling you a trauma narrative, what happens to the memory? It comes into working memory. And if the memory's in working memory, where else is it? It's in your body. It's generating all that affect. And we're trying to heal you using positive affect. And we've just dumped a whole memory into your body all at once. So if your client starts telling you a trauma narrative, it's better to have told them beforehand, we're going to try not to. Does that make sense? But if they tell you, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to say, oh my goodness, I need you to stop talking or this isn't going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if we're going to process this, it's probably good not to set it on fire. Right. And if you feel like you really need to tell me a little bit about it, tell me a little bit about it. And then we're going to do grounding. Do you know what we're going to do grounding? We're going to do grounding to get it far enough away from you so that we can bring a tiny piece of it into working memory at a time. Okay. So we need to select the memory, but we don't want to set it on fire because flash can be lost right out of the gate if the client's playing the memory in their mind, which is another reason why we want to start with a really small memory. Because a really small memory isn't small memories don't want to come into the room like Kramer, right? Bad memories want to come into the room like Kramer, right? They just burst in and So um, maybe we start with a memory that doesn't. But so language for this is you can identify these memories in a prior session. Okay. So we can say, hey, Janet, the memory you talked about maybe wanting to work on today in Flash, is that the memory you want to work on today? Yeah, good. Do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Can you check? Yeah, I think so. Okay, good. Just push the general idea of the memory out of your awareness. Look at a blank wall or ceiling, blank it out. Let me know when it's gone. You see what we did there? We selected it, but we didn't set it on fire. We out of your Another way to think about it is like you have an icon on your desktop. You left click once and it just highlights it. That's all we did. We just highlighted it. We didn't like open it. We didn't double click to go reading in it. We just selected it. Sensible? Good. That's step three. Another way to do step three, when we practice this together in about an hour and a half, what I'm going to say is there a memory that you'd like to work on today? Is it an individual memory that happened at a particular place and time? Good, because I want to make sure it's an individual memory and not a whole theme. Good. Do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Check. And if so, push it out of your awareness. Let me know when it's gone. And you know what? I'm not going to know what any of you are working on. And that's okay. Does that make sense? And again, if you're like, that doesn't feel right, what were you going to do with a client with complex trauma that's more productive than them resolving a memory that they've identified that they want out of them? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? You knowing what that memory, you may know a little bit about it, but you don't know all the details and you never need to. And that's good. We're watching people heal themselves, and you're not the center of that. Okay. So what I want to know is that it's an individual memory, that it happened at a particular place and time, and that different parts of you think working on the memory is a good idea today. And you don't have to do all the whole parts work. We're just having conversations with clients about the constructive parts. Okay. Have you ever wanted to go somewhere and not wanted to go at the same time? Have you ever loved somebody and kind of freaking hated them at the same time? Right? Does that make any sense if we're only one piece? Right? Is it possible that parts of us want us to go see our friends and then other parts are like, oh my gosh, you haven't slept well. You haven't been feeling well. What if you go out into the world and you get overwhelmed? I'm worried about you having an energy crisis, right? So that's the idea. Okay. We don't need to do much more deeply than that with most clients. Some clients you're going to need to. Clients on the DID end of the spectrum, I'm doing many, many, many sessions of parts work before we go anywhere near Flash. Because it's not like I need to know who they are so that they can collaborate with me. They need to know who I am so that I can collaborate with them. Right? So It's relational work when we're working, and we got to do that relational work first. So so good. Step four, load up your Calm scene. Let me know when you're there. You can press play on YouTube, and they're just going to be in their Calm scene for 30 seconds at a time. Now, you're in your Calm scene for 30 seconds at a time, literally watching YouTube video or petting your dog, except every 5 seconds, roughly, nothing magical happens at 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, the therapist says the word blink. And when the therapist says blink, you can blink one time slowly for half a second like this, close, open. You can blink a couple of times quickly, blink, blink. You can blink 3 times, blink, blink, blink. You can even blink 4 times, blink, 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 blink. We have little bitty eye muscles. Don't go crazy. Does it make sense? Don't like wear your little eye muscles out. Like, blink, blink, blink. You don't have to. 4 blinks is not better than one. Do you know what I mean? What we're doing, be very clear about what we're doing. We're blocking, we're doing a motor movement designed to disrupt your focus on the pleasant scene to generate a new exposure to the pleasant scene. So I'm going to say this several different ways. What the blinks do is they split a single 30-second exposure to your pleasant scene into 6 individual 5-second exposures. Okay? So imagine I'm your Calm scene. Load up your Calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Good. Just be in your Calm scene. That's what the blinks do. They're a purposeful motor movement designed to disrupt your concentration on your pleasant scene. And then you go back into your pleasant scene and have a new exposure. Okay. So do you know what happens? Because I've taken this apart with my friends here in Cleveland. Do you know what happens when you don't blink? The memory still resolves. It just takes 2 hours. Do you know why? Because the blinks generate a large number of exposures of pleasant information. And if you don't blink, it takes 4 times longer to get to that number of disconfirming experiences. So one of the things that Flash teaches us about memory reconsolidation is that if you want to process a memory quickly in this way, it's not the depth or length of the Calm scene. It's not the beauty or astonishment of the Calm scene that matters. It's the sheer number of experiences that you're having that are different. And the blinks generate a new Calm scene, 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 back to back to back to back to back to back. And we'll talk about in a minute what's going on with that from the point of view of your nervous system. Okay. So we're in our Calm scene in step four. And the very first time we're in step four, we repeat it. Have you ever done a mindful practice, whether it's yoga or meditation, and it just took you a little while to get into it? Does that make sense? Maybe your head was like doing all this. This took you a while to get into it. So this is our active ingredient. I want to repeat it just to make sure that you can get in there. I want to make sure that you can find your way to that Calm scene, and I'm not going to rush. Quantity over quality is a good example. Absolute. That's a really good snapshot of what we're doing here. Because with the blinks, you may be having 250 Calm scenes. The blinks generate a new exposure to the pleasant scene. Okay? So do you see what we're doing? Micro-activating and then having experience, 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 experience. That's showing your nervous system that little piece of the memory that we brought into working memory isn't happening right here because it's not happening anywhere in my nervous system. Your brain is in the black box of your skull. The realization of what is past and what is present is largely a post-thought rationalization from the point of view of your brain. Okay? Yeah, except we're not, you'll see that what we're not doing is we're not doing substitution. It feels like we're doing substitution, but we're not exactly doing substitution. We'll talk about what we are doing in a little while. So we're in our calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. And then you know what we do? We're going to check the memory. And this is the very first time we're looking at that memory. So the language is lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. And we're using our hands to send it away, right? Why are we sending it away? That little piece of the memory, we're sending it away because we need to make all of awareness available for our pleasant scene. Because if it's here, do you know what it's doing? It's junking up your pleasant scene. And if it's here, it's in your focus, it's in your mind, you're thinking about it, you're ruminating about it, you're trying to make sense of it. If it's in your belly, your nervous system isn't likely to make the conclusion that it's over, because if it's happening in your body, it's happening now. Okay? So we're going to look at the memory really quickly, push it out of awareness, and then when it's gone, whatever little piece of it came into awareness, when we looked at that memory very quickly, we're going to catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, we're going back to our calm scene. Step five, step four. Step five, step four. Microactivate container, calm scene blinks. Microactivate container, calm scene blinks. Over and over and over like a pump. And we're getting this bean, that bean, that bean, that bean at a time. Pump, just moving it, one little piece of the memory. So we're not resolving the memory all at once. By the way, if you're an EMDR therapist, you've never seen a memory resolve all at once. It's always a piece at a time. The difference is that in EMDR, they're kind of like pieces the size of oranges. Do you know what I mean? And they're kind of on fire and they're burning you a little bit, right? This is like they're like little beans from the bean bag and they're room temperature basically. Okay. Or maybe a little hot. How about this? They're like they're like kind of individual but warm coffee beans, like the whole coffee bean. How about that? Yeah. Maybe 100-degree coffee beans. There we go. It's a good metaphor for our bean bag. So we're doing this microactivate container calm scene blinks, microactivate container calm scene blinks, microactivate container calm scene blinks, until we tell the client very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away, let me know when it's gone. And they're like, I'm having a hard time finding what's distressing. So it's almost like, remember the scary 80s Exorcist poltergeist film with the girl in the creepy bed terrorized the generations of us, right? You open the door of a bad memory, stuff flies out at you. Does it make sense to fly? So for a while, what we're doing is we're just catching it as sending away. After a little bit of time, we have to like look at the memory and like find what's distressing in the next pieces of it, right? So it's starting to take more time to find what's distressing. And when it takes like 7 to 10 seconds to find the next piece of distress, then what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, when you're having trouble finding what's distressing in the memory, just let me know. And then they tell you, and then like every good or every bad horror movie, do you know what we do? We think we're done. And then we walk into the bad room and we look under the cushions of the couch. And then we pull the couch back and he's alive. And then we catch it and right. There's always debris in the video. So we're playing the video of the bad memory in step six from the very first frame or the very first piece of it that you have. So I'm saying play the memory from the very first frame. Let me know with one hand when you find the first little bit of distress. And it's funny because about 50% of people, they turn their heads left and they do like this, like they're reading something. So right here, I know at 30% into the video, you found something. And then we catch it, contain it, send it far away. And then you know what we do? Calm scene with blinks. Every time you get distress from the piece of the memory, we always catch it, contain it. And every time you catch it, contain it, we immediately go to calm scene with blinks. So that's the secret. That's the sequence. Microactivate, catch, contain, calm scene blinks. Okay? Microactivate, catch, contain, calm scene blinks over and over and over. So we've gone from a step 5, step 4 loop to a step 6, step 4 loop. Okay. And you know what we do? When they find that first piece of distress, we catch it, contain it, do our calm scene blinks, and then we come back. So we've moved. You see how our cursor started at the beginning of the video? Right? So have y'all ever done video editing software when you have the little thing, right? We've moved our cursor and now we're here. So what I say is that piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? Client says, yeah, a little bit. Catch it, contain it, send it far away, let me know when it's gone. Calm scene blinks, blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? No. Good. Play the memory forward. Let me know when you find the next piece of distress. Good. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Good. Calm scene blinks, blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress, is there any distress in it in this moment? No. Play it forward. I just got to the end of the video. Good. Turn up your sensitivity so that you would notice that much distress. Just that much, and play it again. Let me know when you find the first piece. Oh, there's a little bit. No, no, catch it, contain it, send it far away. Let me know when it's gone. Yeah, good. Calm scene, blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? No. Good. Play it forward. I'm at the end of the video. Good. Turn up your sensitivity again, even higher, and then play it again. No, I'm not finding any. And in this version of Flash, we're done when you can play the video from beginning to end, and there is absolutely no distress on any channel. And that takes about 25 to 40 minutes with most clients with really severe trauma. Sometimes it takes longer, right? It can take, but again, 95% of the time, when you've done this a while, whatever you target, 95% of the time should resolve in a single session, as long as you're having most of the session to do this. Okay. That was a super turbo intro to like the mechanics of this. We're going to come back and walk through it a little bit slower. Yeah. The video that we're walking through in step 6 is the video of the bad memory. Okay, I know it's confusing because we have the video on YouTube, but the video we're walking through is the video of the bad memory. And if clients don't have it, like in their mind as a video, whatever way they have it, does that make sense? If it's mostly things they're hearing or mostly things they're, whatever, on any sense, in any way that it is, that's how we're interacting with it. So you don't have to have the memory kind of stored. Yeah. So the other way to think about it is we're processing this and processing this until we think we have all the beans moved over. And you know what we're doing? We're like checking. Do you know what I mean? We're crinkling it and making sure we haven't left any debris. Okay. And then when debris falls out, that's our content. And then when we're done, we've got the whole beanbag over here as a fully processed memory. And what a fully processed memory means is that you can interact with it anytime you want, and it doesn't kick you in the chest like a horse. Every part of you will experience that memory as over subsequently. It will behave like a normal memory from that developmental era behaves forever. And you won't forget that it happened to you. It's just you won't be flooded with trauma symptoms when you remember it. Okay? Good. What questions do you have about the mechanics of this? Recognizing we're going to go through it again in a little while more slowly. If you've taken other versions of Flash, you may notice that there's no SUDS in this version. Why is there no SUDS in this version? The SUDS is an activation strategy. Why would I have you, we're trying to keep the memory here. Why would I have you do this, weigh it, feel how awful it is, and then put it back as though you didn't just do that? Does that make sense? We're in a therapy where we're trying not to activate you, you don't need to know how much distress remains in the memory. Does that make sense? You don't need to know how many beans. You just need to know that they're doing what you're asking them to do. Okay? Good. There's also no bilateral. There's no bilateral in this version of Flash. I've never done Flash with bilateral. My clients have resolved whatever we've targeted 95% of the time in a single session. Why? Does something have to be an active ingredient? Can something possibly be an active ingredient if you can do it without it reliably, consistently all day long? But I like bilateral. Okay. Some people like Yankee Doodle. You can have your client hum Yankee Doodle, but it's not going to help them find their way into the calm scene, which is what I'm asking them to do. Make sense? Okay. We'll talk about working mechanism in a moment. That's what's coming up next. What questions do you have? Yeah, however the memory is stored, that's how we're accessing it. It doesn't have to be visual. It could be just emotional. It could be just, ugh. What piece of the memory are you at? The part that's like, ugh. You know what I mean? That's what we're catching containing. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Questions. The client is not telling me anything about the bad memory. Do you know why? I want them to handle it like a hot potato. And if you're telling me you're touching it and you're holding it longer than I want you to, right? We're handling this memory content like a hot potato. The moment it comes into awareness, it's immediately being containered and sent out of awareness. The act of identifying what's distressing and containing it is part of the same motion. Okay? No questions? I'm going to change the question a little bit. How do we help people who have a hard time containering? Container in Flash. I'll show you. As soon as we walk through container, I'll show you what to do when people can't visualize. Because containment is largely a visualization activity. And if you can't visualize, I have a really cool accommodation for that. Okay? Awesome. Any other questions? Yeah, I'm helping them identify a tolerable place to start. Yeah. We're not working with the death of a child as our first target or the death of an attachment figure, or we're not doing any of that. We're literally finding a tolerable place to start and just starting there. We're not starting with any of the memories that broke you. When do we break out the shop vac? We break out the shop vac when you go to catch it and it completely, you know what I mean? It just hits your body. You know how catchers wear all this right? Because sometimes he's got a really big glove, but sometimes the ball just hits you in the chest. We're trying to catch it here. So when you think about sometimes just thinking about the memory may just boom cause it to show up in the body. So if we have body-based distress, we're gonna vacuum it out with our shot back. Okay, good. All right, page 5. What is going on with this? So one of the kind of theorists who's having a pretty good moment right now is Bruce Ecker. Okay, so Bruce Ecker is kind of arriving here with what we're going to be talking about theoretically. What Bruce Ecker did is he looked at what was transformational in trauma therapies when your clients had an aha moment and like something really shifted. What were the elements of that? What was going on in that? And then Bruce Ecker also looked at the memory reconsolidation research, which has been really going very, very, very high steam since the year 2000. Okay, the very early research in 2000 into memory reconsolidation using humans, mice, nematodes, and everything in between about how organisms might be able to unlearn or undo saliently learned information. Okay, so that research. And then what we have up here is we have neuroscience. So those of you many of you here have been trained in triune brain. Triune brain. Remember brainstem, limbic brain, neocortex. That's been the foundation of trauma trainings for the better part of 40 years, right? The problem with that is that it's built on an evolutionary model that we know for sure isn't true. So it's an evolutionary model of the brain that we now know for sure isn't true. So we don't have the old model brainstem, limbic brain, neocortex. We don't have three separate brains that are fighting for control over your nervous system. That is not how neuroscience, modern neuroscience, thinks of what's happening in the brain. Okay? So, what we think is happening in the brain is prediction. Give me a moment here. So, have any of you read Lisa Feldman Barrett's work, or have any of you read Andy Clark's The Experience Machine? No? They're pretty good summaries of this. I'll put those references in chat in a little while. Okay. But what we're learning is that our brains build a model of everything we've ever been through, right? We're going to call this the generative model that everybody has in their head. And everybody's model's different because it's built from your experiences. Okay. So think about how weird this training would be if this was a Taco Bell manager meeting. Y'all would be like, what the heck is going? Do you see what I mean? How everything you've been through and everything I've been through allows us to have a conversation here that makes some kind of sense. Does it make sense? So you're pulling from everything you've been through that makes sense. And you know what trauma is in this model? Trauma is simply salient learning. It's all trauma is. It's just really, really salient learning. We're going to talk about what that is in a minute. But you would think the kind of way we've always understood perception is from down up, meaning that we've always understood perception as light comes in through the eyes, and then it's converted into electrical signals that go deeper and deeper and deeper into the brain until ultimately, boom, a scene emerges with meaning. Do you know what I mean? Like deep into the brain. That's how we've thought perception largely emerges. But that's not what's actually happening in our brain. Because we would expect to find pathways in our brain that are very, very deep, that are moving deep from our sensory structures very, very deep into our brain. That's not what we're finding. You have bigger structures moving deep into your brain down toward the sensory structures. Isn't that weird? And why is that weird? Because what's happening in our brain, and it's not just perception, is our brain is looking at our generative model and it's making thousands or hundreds of thousands of predictions a second about what it thinks we're about to sense. Okay? Perception begins with prediction. Okay? Perception begins with prediction. And when the sensory information conflicts with the predictions, do you know what happens? Prediction error results. And prediction error is what's sent back deeper into the brain. And the prediction error has one of two things it can do. It can either generate a new cascade of different predictions, or it can update the model that you have in your head about what's happening right here, right now. Okay, I'm going to circle around this in a little while because and I can see that this is also, it's kind of landing, but also kind of not landing. What I'm saying is that perception is largely a sensory corrected hallucination. Okay, because it begins first with a prediction about what we're about to sense. Okay. And then what is corrected goes back in terms of prediction error. So, why is this relevant to what we're talking about right here, right now? First, this model seems to be what's going on in absolutely everything your brain is doing across everything it actually regulates. So, from sodium to glucose, to energy, to heart rate, to temperature, to every single thing that the brain is doing. There's model, prediction, prediction error, and precision weighting. And precision weighting is basically where is your brain attaching emphasis right here, right now. Okay? So give me a minute. We're going to circle around this. Trauma isn't meant to be changed easily because it's salient learning. And do you know what salient learning means? It has a lot of precision weighting on itself, and it downgrades the precision weighting on your right now sensory experience that might disconfirm it. Okay? So, do you know what we're doing? We're shifting what's happening in your sensory system. So here's what we do in Flash. In Flash, we bring a tiny piece of the memory into working memory, one that is not accompanied by a whole bunch of affect. We bring a tiny piece of the memory into working memory. We push it out of awareness. Okay? Guess what? Do you know what we know about working memory? When you bring something into working memory, it stays there a little while. And when you bring something into working memory from a predictive processing lens, do you know what happens? Your brain has to start making predictions about it. And you know the prediction I want it to make about it is that it's over. And remember, the predictions that it's making, it only has two places to look. Does that make sense? It only has the generative model, and it only has what's happening right here, right now in your sensory system. And you know what's happening right here, right now in your sensory system? Puppies. Puppies. You see what we're getting at? So, by the way, do you remember when I said that a trauma memory isn't meant to be changed easily? We're not moving the memory. We're moving a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of learning that's in that memory at a time. Do you know what that is? That is remarkably easy to change if you give the body, the predictive mind, the right type of sensory learning that shows it that it's not happening right here, right now, that shows it that it's over. Okay. And you see why too much activation's in the body. Because if we're trying to help your predictive system realize not the memory, but that little piece of the memory is over. If you have activation sitting in your belly, guess what your predictive system has to do about that? The moment it hits awareness, it has to start generating predictions about it too, right? Because your brain is in the black box of your skull. All it knows is what's happening in the generative model and what's happening in your right now sensory state, including in your belly, in your viscera, in your chest, in your nervous system. Okay. So if a piece of that memory is happening in your body, your brain isn't going to reach the conclusion that it's over. And that's what I want it to make. So do you see why we have the shot vac? Do you see why we have to enlist clients into the idea that if this is painful, we need to stop and deal with that pain using one of the resources before we move forward? The fastest way through Flash is the least painful way. Okay? Because if there's an enormous amount of activation, this is going to go very slowly. Okay? And again, the other thing that may happen, I want to be very clear about what happens if the client activates and doesn't tell you, and then activates again and doesn't tell you, and activates and activates and activates and activates, do you know what your brain might do? It might say, all of this in working memory is trauma, and it might update it. And you know what it may do? It may make your golden retrievers a trauma trigger. Do you see the risk? And it doesn't do that. If you're working down here and distress is going like this down here, it doesn't do that. It's only when it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then you have a trauma response, strong trauma response in your pleasant scene, which may be one of the only things in this whole universe that doesn't suck for that client, can now become a trauma trigger. It doesn't happen when you keep your clients minimally activated, but they've got to communicate. Does that make sense? They've got to do what you're asking them to do. And some of our clients have really good masks, right? So they have to enlist in the idea that if distress is coming, we must stop and deal with that distress. And we do not go forward until distress is moving away from you. That's a hard sell when we've told people for 130 years, you have to go to therapy and catharsis that stuff. Okay. So, how does this sound? I know this sounds crazy, but many forms of neuroscience are organizing around the idea of a predictive brain. Okay. And counselors, social workers, and psychologists are among the last people that talk about triune brain the way we do, right? So we need to update. We need to update. So if you're interested in kind of brain stuff, I'd read about network neuroscience, default mode network, executive network, salience network, right? Read about network neuroscience and read about yeah, yeah, read about the predictive mind. It's really, really, really cool stuff. There's an enormous amount of explanatory power. So How does this sound? Does it sound crazy? Okay, let's put it in a broader context. Who here does parts work? What is parts work? Isn't parts work relational work in which parts of you have relational experiences with other parts of you that are different than the learning and the trauma? Do you know what that is? That's prediction error, isn't it? It's therapeutically guided prediction error. It's new experiential learning, isn't it? Those of you that do EMDR therapy, what does the difficult stuff connect with every single time? It connects with the adaptive information that's already in you. Do you know what that is? That's prediction error, right? We heal across prediction error. Anybody here taken an EMDR 2.0 training? No? Yeah, okay. So EMDR 2.0, they activate the heck out of you. And then they immediately distract you from that activation. Do you know what that is? It's prediction error. Look at what people are doing in EMDR 2.0. They're laughing. They're like, you know what I mean? They're focused on the thing you just did that distracted them. So EMDR 2.0 is remarkably similar to Flash. It's just EMDR 2.0 is the kind of Metallica version, and Flash is the Indigo Girl version, right? They're just very, very different ways of doing remarkably similar things. So, psychedelics, whether psychedelics lower your defenses or whether psychedelics allow you to interact with the memory differently than you normally do you know what that is in the predictive mind? It's prediction error all day long. We heal when we have experiences that are different than the expectation in the bad memory. That's Bruce Ecker's take home message in memory reconsolidation. And Bruce Ecker is enormously frustrating because he's in a really, really great place to say a lot of really cool things. And he says, yes, this is how healing happens. And that's incredibly compatible with the predictive mind. But he says the way that I do it is the only real legitimate way, right? We have to shift whole cognitions all at once. So I don't know. It's difficult. Bruce Ecker is right, right? But man, his lens is the way I do it is like it's like the best way. Do you know what I mean? It's just sad because because he's right and really it's just been proved over and over and over. And of course, look at what Bruce Ecker's trying to change. Bruce Ecker's trying to change a whole belief about yourself all at once. Do you know what a whole belief about yourself all at once is? That's a lot. For people with complex trauma, that's an enormous amount of territory. Do you know what I'm trying to change? A little bitty, tiny, tiny aspect of a single memory. That is not that evolutionarily important. That is not that sticky. Okay. So, yeah, roughly every 30 seconds to 40 seconds, we're processing a little bitty piece of trauma. Okay. Questions? Predictive processing has an enormous amount of explanatory power. I want to talk about some of its criticisms. It's such a big idea that it's kind of hard to disprove. And that's a problem scientifically, right? It's such a big idea, it's kind of hard to prove. Um, Disprove. The other idea is it has really spooky implications. And you may not be down with that. Let me give an example. If what you are perceiving is largely selected for you by your predictive system way, way, way faster than actual perception, Free will is a little bit of a problem from the predictive processing point of view, the way we've classically thought of it. But from the neuroscience perspective, free will's been a complicated problem for several decades. Okay. So I'm fine with that, but y'all may struggle with some of you may struggle with that a little bit. But I don't know. It explains a lot. Explains a lot. And then, by the way, your brain, here's what we can do with a brain organized this way. Your brain, remember how we used to say your limbic brain was largely just the passive thing that lights up, we say lights up when something comes through and activates it. You have this trauma triggering. Lights up is a metaphor where a particular, like from fMRI data, lights up means that compared to a control state, that part of your brain is using more energy right now. But that only makes sense compared to a control state. Do you know what happens when you look at a brain in an fMRI? Your brain is always on. It is always on. Your brain has always been changing. For as long as you're alive, your brain has been changing. So there's no doubt that you can heal. There's absolutely no doubt that you can heal because you've been doing that this whole time. The only problem is that the trauma bits are sticky. They don't want to change easy, right? It hasn't been evolutionarily wise for them to change easy. Okay. But we can change a little bitty tiny piece of it at a time. And then when we do, new learning happens. And when new learning happens, that new learning goes all through your nervous system, causing lots of other things to process and generalize. Okay. Any questions before we move on? If you're interested in predictive processing as a concept, be in touch. If you want to do research, be in touch. I'm starting a research nonprofit in Cleveland to really try to answer some important questions about EMDR therapy and Flash and other transformational trauma therapies. Yeah. We're going to practice this. We're going to practice this together in 40 minutes, and you get to see it firsthand. Okay. Also on the Four Blinks, Fourblink's website, there's 6 demos that you can watch. Okay. All right, page 6, Flash in a crisis context. If something just happened, where's the memory? Do you see the problem? If something just happened, how are we going to flash it when it's right here in working memory? Do you know what we have to do? Number one, if your client is in shock, be with them in shock. You know what I mean? Like, use every skill you've got. But if your client had something really activating that they would like to process this session, but it just happened, or they're right now really, really activated about it, we need to ground. Ground, 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 ground. Why? To get it far enough away from you so that you can start to bring a little piece of it into working memory at a time. Sensible? So ground when your clients come to session on fire before you try to do flash on this, because if it's here, it's all over the body and you're going to have a mess. So start with grounding when your clients come to session, activated, activated. Okay? Good. Questions? By the way, when I say that if the stress is in the body from the memory, that's a problem. What about your clients who come to session with an 8.5 out of 10 stressed all of the time? Is that a problem? No. Do you know why? Because that 8.5 out of 10 is their baseline. What we're containing and what we're vacuuming is what got worse when you looked at that memory. That is the content that's going to shape your predictions, not your baseline. Does that make sense? It's the content from that memory that your nervous system's going to see as confirming, not your baseline. So it's really good news that we don't have to have ways to make our clients to where they have to really, really relax in order to do flash. You don't. You can work with their baseline, even if it's an 8.75 out of 10. It's just whatever it is from that memory that made it worse, that's what you have to container. Sensible? Okay. Page 7, when to do flash, when to do EMDR therapy. I don't really care. You're probably doing flash because your client isn't prepared to do EMDR. My guess is look, I don't think anybody is here because you are an EMDR therapist and you're so tired of your people with complex trauma resolving every memory they touch uneventfully that you're looking for other ways to work. Does that make sense? I think what happens is you have a client that's like a big old bucket of gunpowder, and here we are with our match trying to figure out where we light it without it exploding everywhere. So what Flash does is it shows you where the little bitty spoons are, and it lets you get a scoop of it and put it on the table. And does that make sense? It lets you work a little bitty tiny bit at a time safely. Okay. Um, yeah. Page 9, container. Shall we start developing some resources? Shall we develop some resources together? The resources are needed to do this safely. So if you're going to practice with us in a little while, try the resources. I'm going to describe container, and those of you that struggle visualizing, ignore me. We're going to replace it with something in just a minute. Okay? Because it's kind of a little gaslighty to like have you do a resource that you literally can't do, right? So just sit this part out. We'll replace it. So when I say a container to hold not the memory, does it make sense? We're not containing the memory. We're containing only the bean or two that comes out of it, just a little piece of it. So your container doesn't have to be a vault that would fit in the Grand Canyon. Does that make sense? That's not what we're containing. As a matter of fact, if you're so activated that you would need a vault that big, do you know what I'm doing? I'm grounding. I'm not containing, right? I'm a ground. Okay. So, so when I say container, what comes to mind? It can be a little safe. It can be a vault. It can be a cookie jar. It can be a file box. It can be a mailbox. What comes to mind? And as you kind of just think about it, spin it around in your mind like it's kind of a computer animation. Do you know what I mean? It's like spin it around. Notice what it's made of. Notice how it opens. Notice how it closes. Good. Those of you that can visualize, how did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Do you have something? Okay, good. All right, good. Now, can you imagine? This is a blank post-it note. Can you imagine a blank post-it note going into that container? And can you imagine the door close? We're testing your container to see if it can contain something. Okay? So if you were to open it up, would you see the post-it note? Try it. Okay, if not, try it again. See if you could see that post-it note go in. It's important that the container be able to contain. Okay, good. How'd that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay, good. Now, the container, that you just put the Post-it note in. Okay? This is a little bit difficult for some people. Can you imagine it zooming away from you until it flies past the object formerly known as the planet Pluto? Just billions of miles an hour until it's far, 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 far away from you. Okay, how did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay, good. Okay, those of you that struggle visualizing, in my office, I have 50 of these. They're bean bags. Okay, some are yellow, some are green, some are blue, some are red, etc. Okay, and they live in a wicker basket. So what I do at the little table that's between me and the client, the little like coffee table, I dump them on the coffee table. So now there's 50 bean bags on the coffee table, and I put the wicker basket across the room on the wall, against the wall. And what we're going to do is the client is going to throw the beanbag in the air and think about the memory only when the beanbag is in the air. And whatever gets associated with distress in that memory when the beanbag is in the air is going to get put into that beanbag. And then they're going to throw the beanbag across the room to the basket. So do you see what we've just done? We have it's activate container, micro activate container, all in one thing. Does that make sense? Now, what's the advantage in the beanbag? What do you have to do to throw and catch a beanbag? You got to be here. You have to track it a little bit with your eyes, don't you? Do you know what that does? That keeps you from falling too deeply into the memory. So sometimes what clients will do, like, oh, I didn't get anything. And we go, okay, do it again. They throw it a little high. Okay, got it. And then they throw it across the room toward the wicker basket. Okay. Now, those of you who do telehealth, you're like, Tom, I can't afford 50 bean bags for all of my clients. You know what you do? They have paper in their house somewhere. One piece of paper can easily make 50 little paper balls. And you know what you do through telehealth? They throw it in the air, they catch it, and they throw it across the room, and you don't care because they're not in your office. They're not littering your office with all these little things. And then they go get them, they scoop them up, they put them in the cup for next time. Do you see what I mean? You see how elegant that is? You can also do that for people who struggle with microactivation. If they need a little bit of help and a little bit of extra grounding, they can do this. Do you see what I mean? You don't have to throw the beanbag up high. You can get just a little bit, catch it, contain it, send it far away. Okay? Questions? It's pretty elegant. Good. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Do you have a container that works? You know what you can also do? This. You just do that. Right as you do that, try this with me. Do it, just send it away once. What does that send the message? It's sending the message. I'm not thinking about this. I'm not ruminating about this. I'm not noticing it. I'm not trying to see what else it connects to. I'm not doing any of those things. It's moving away from me. Okay, good. Has anybody here ever used the shop vac? Okay, or have you ever dropped coins into a car wash vacuum cleaner? Right? Or have you ever pulled the hose off of a canister vacuum and cleaned pet hair off upholstery, right? Have you ever done that? So with the shop vac or with other, have you ever tested it to make sure that it like has good suction? Can you get in touch with that memory? Just that, right? Good. Or maybe you've only used a dust buster. If you've used the dust, but dust busters are kind of lame, aren't they? They're not very strong. Can you imagine a dustbuster that's got like 10 times the power of a regular battery dustbuster? Can we imagine that? Good. So, good. For those of you that have a memory of a really strong handheld vacuum, I also want to say that before we do it, before that, some people, vacuums are triggering because they were punished a lot with chores. Some people, vacuums are triggering because of medical procedures that may have involved suction of some type, right? So if that's the case, vacuuming may not work for some people. And if that's the case, we'll talk about accommodations in a minute. Okay? Sensible? Okay. But for those of you who do have a vacuum that you can use kind of in your mind, do you have any residual stress from last weekend? Some of you live with a knucklehead, right? Some of you have a teen, some of you have a partner that's just darn it, whatever. Can you see if you have any residual distress? Don't use this with pain, but see if you have any residual distress anywhere in your body. Turn your vacuum on and see if you can vacuum some of it up. Don't let it pull your skin. See if you can see some of that stress leave your body, go into that hose like a kind of colored smoke. Okay? Again, don't have to get it all. Okay? Good. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways. Doing all right? Mostly? Okay, good. Good. If you struggle with the shop vac, one of the things you can try is use your hands wherever it is. Use your hands and just try to scoop it and send it away, right? Just try to scoop it and send it away. If not, you may need to get up and wiggle a little bit. Does that make sense? You may need to kind of get up and move away from that distress. You may need to take a few powerful breaths and kind of dragon breathe it out. Whatever you need to do to kind of, but the point is, distress in the body from that memory we're working on is no good. It's no good. It's going to shape your predictions in a way that we don't want them shaped. Okay. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to feel your emotions, right? We just have 167 other hours in the week when you can catharsis things as much as you want. But in Flash, if Flash isn't largely painless, it's not working and harm may occur. Okay. Good. Questions. Questions about ShopVac or questions about container. Okay. Calm scene. Calm scene. Good. That's just information. And again, we're vacuuming in this example. We're vacuuming things we don't normally vacuum. We're vacuuming your baseline. So that may be a lot for some of you. Okay, good. Um, Calm scene. What is it that you love? What's the funniest thing you've seen? The funniest reel you've seen lately? Can you find that? Is it funny things kids say? Is it cats play wrestling with each other? Is it power washing? The favorite calm scene I've ever seen is a client who brings to session their favorite deli sandwich. And the first few rounds, they're just unwrapping the deli paper and just listening to the crinkle of the deli paper. And then there's a few rounds where they're just smelling it, right? And then, yeah, knives in session, whatever. They cut it up into little cubes, and the rest of the session, they're just consuming their calm scene through the session. It's weird, but if you're a trauma therapist, you've done weird things with your clients. Okay. So I mentioned food a lot, assess for disordered eating. Your calm scene can't be a trigger, right? But I'm going to give you a minute. Do y'all have access to YouTube? If you have access to YouTube, go to YouTube and start Googling things. If you really like nature, there's this guy, Steve Janis, that has scenes of Austria and scenes of Switzerland. That's just absolutely beautiful, beautiful scenes. Okay. Or you can find, if you like beaches, Google beach wave relaxation, beach island wave relaxation. It'll just be beautiful, beautiful waves coming in on a beach. Okay. I'm going to be back in about 60 seconds or so and check in and see how you do. But find something on YouTube that just really, really captures your attention and shifts how you feel. All right, good. How'd that go? You finding something? Okay, excellent. Good. Again, calm scene is not correctly named. It can be calm, funny, relaxation, engaging, ridiculous, beautiful, astonishing. Any of those things work. Okay. It has two rules. Okay. The calm scene has to shift how you feel in the present moment quickly. It cannot be reading. Does that make sense? People are like, I love reading. I love reading. Guess what? You can't get out Anna Karenina, right? And go, happy families are all the blink. You know what? It doesn't work, right? It's not, right? And if you're going to watch YouTube videos of your favorite episodes of TV, they need to be highlight reels. Does that make sense? Because if you're watching The Office, there's sometimes when just Pam and Jim are just looking at each other for 60 seconds. That might, for some of you, that might be awesome. For others, it may be a little bit boring. So you may need like ridiculous stuff to be happening, right? So it can be highlight reels of your favorite comedian. Okay. So it must shift how you feel in the present moment quickly. That's one of the rules. Okay. The other rule is it cannot intersect the bad memory in any way. So you can't use videos of babies to process child loss, right? You can't use a beautiful beach of Maui on YouTube to process divorce trauma if that's where y'all honeymooned. Does it make sense? You can't. And even if you're working on divorce trauma and you want to use The Office, well, what if you and your ex, what if The Office was the only thing that didn't suck in your whole relationship? Does it make sense? And now what's going to happen is you're going to use an episode and you're going to remember a time when you and your ex were watching that episode in the middle of COVID or whatever. So if, and again, if there is an intersection, what we need to do is you have to quickly change the calm scene to something else. Sensible? You can also, can you imagine since we're doing the blinks? you're actually having multiple exposures over and over and over, your calm scene might get really boring. You may get bored with it in 10 minutes. You may need to change it. You may need to have a collection of videos organized as a playlist. Okay, good. Any questions about calm scene? They can be short videos in a playlist that just play one to the next. They can be 2-minute videos that the client just keeps playing over and over again. Again, it can be a Spotify playlist of your favorite songs. Okay, and your eyes are closed when you're listening to the music, and then you open them and then close them. It's an inverse blink. Okay, the music doesn't stop, the video doesn't stop when you're blinking. You just blink right through it. Okay, and when y'all are doing it, I'm going to talk right over it. Okay, good. Yep. That's not necessarily unique to music, but I do not want you to use an imaginary calm scene. Okay, I do not want you to use an imaginary calm scene. So I would suppose, I mean, some people will say, well, isn't Spotify an imaginary calm scene? No, it's an auditory calm scene. Okay, good. Now, wait a minute, Tom. I'm confused because if what the blinks do is disrupt my focus on my YouTube video, why do I have to blink? Why can't I just look away and then look back? You can. Do you know what that is? That's functionally identical to a blink. You can look at a doorknob and look right back at your calm scene, and Flash is going to work just as well. So clients with eye irritation issues, you don't have to blink. You can look away, look back. You know what else you can do? You can look down, tap your legs, and look right back at the video. Any motor movement that disrupts your attention on your calm scene works. Okay, good. Questions? I also will line up the same bean bags. My clients that kind of really need to be taxed a little bit in the calm scene, I'll line up different colored bean bags on the little table next to us. And instead of saying blink, I'll say a color. And then the client looks for that color of beanbag. And when they see it, then they go back and look at the YouTube video. So instead of saying blink, I'll say green. Good. Go right back into your calm scene. Good. Yellow. Right? And then they find the yellow. You could do that as well. Okay, good. Questions? Yep, the calm scene just plays. Just plays the whole way through. We don't stop it. As a matter of fact, if y'all are watching like a beach or something like that, even when I'm saying very quickly, think about just let the video play. I'll talk over it. You'll be able to hear me over it. But if people are really loud talking in your video and it's distracting, when I do the very quickly think about the bad memory, that's when you stop it and play it. So it just depends. Is the audio in the video distracting you from me? Is it hard for you to hear me so really, but while you're in it and doing the blinks, you don't stop the video. The video plays the whole time, the whole 30 seconds that you're in the calm scene. It's only when I'm talking to you about activating the next piece of the memory that you could stop it if the audio part of the video is competing with your ability to hear me or focus on what I'm saying. Okay? Questions? Next is our sensory grounding. Do you need to go get your candle or essential oils? Do you have everything near you to do a little bit of grounding? If you have chapstick near you or if you have a drink near you, you have what you need. I see a few people are moving. I'll let you go get what you need. And then for the sense of smell and taste. And what we're going to do, well, first, while people are going, I want to answer the question in chat. Telehealth clients, do you know? Okay. Some of you here know what I mean because I'm about to reference younger people. I'm about to reference older people. And isn't it a little bit weird when you find yourself having shifted demographics? You know? Um, so let me put it this way. Your clients through telehealth who are younger than, say, 40, okay? Do you know what I know? And the younger they get, the more. You're one of only dozens of windows that are already open. Does that make sense? They can toggle between you and YouTube effortlessly. Does that make sense? It's when you get to older people where I ask the question, how do you feel about the TV remote? Right? Because if you can't work a remote, then what I may say is, why don't I screen share the calm scene for you? Just to make it so that you don't even have to worry about. And then I'll screen share and take it down and screen share and take it down as we're doing our check-in. Does that make sense? So how you work, how you work online depends upon the technical competence of the people that you're working with. Okay, good. So what we're going to do in our sensory grounding exercise is we're going to check each of our senses for just a few seconds. It's very, very quick, very, very concrete, and it tends to be something that even people with really significant trauma can do. Okay, so the whole sensory grounding exercise is probably going to be over in 40 seconds. And then next time we can always stretch it out, make it a little bit longer, a little bit more spacious. Okay, good. I invite you to look around your current room and notice whatever you see. Okay, and if you were to touch each object, would it be hard or soft or some other texture? Good. If you have a piece of furniture near you, just touch it and notice, is it warmer, cooler, or the same temperature as your hand? Good. I'm going to be very quiet. Notice whatever you hear in order of loudest first. Good. If you have something near you that has a smell, feel free to engage in that. Okay. If you have something near you that has a taste, feel free to engage in that. Good. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay. And again, I'm not asking, did it relax you? Right? What I'm asking is, did it let you feel a little bit more connected to right here in the space that you're in? Because that's what I'm asking of grounding. I'm asking, did it let you feel a little bit more present, connected? Okay. Because if we're doing flash, and I say very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. And you're just like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to panic. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just ask you, Karen, how present are you right here, right now in this room? And if you're not very present, I'm going to immediately do grounding, ideally using whatever sense. We're going to start with whatever sense is most grounding for you, whether it's smell or touch or sight, whatever sense is most grounding for you. And we're going to ground not until you're 100% present. Does that make sense? I mean, is anybody right now 100% present? Do you want to be 100? I don't want to be 100% present, right? So what we do is we're going to ground until all parts of you know for sure where you are. right here, right now? What percentage of you is here with me right here, right now? 90%. Okay, good. What do we need? What do we need to do for that other 10%? Does that make sense? We really want to make sure that all parts of you are here and aren't stuck in 1977. Okay, can you look at your shoes? Are they the shoes of a grown-up or are they the shoes of a kid? Okay, using what's in this room only, how can we know that it's 2025? Okay, good. Questions. There's scripts for all of these resources in chat. I mean, in the guide. What is bold and italics are things that you might say. You can change this. There's nothing magical about any of this. Okay. Questions. Those are our four resources: container, shop vac, calm scene, and sensory grounding. If you don't know what to do, ground. If your client is having a big response, you don't know what to do, ground. Okay. Questions. Is it clear that we do not push into distress? If distress is coming, we have to stop and use one of the four resources to deal with that distress. We do not push into distress. And if you're an EMDR therapist, you're used to having the client push into distress. Flash is not EMDR therapy. It's not even apple and oranges. It's not oranges and mandarin oranges. It's apple and kittens, right? They're completely different. And what you need to do EMDR well will make a big mess of Flash. And what you need to do Flash well will make a disaster in EMDR therapy. So Flash has its requirements. And if distress is coming, we must stop and deal with that distress and don't go forward until we do. When trauma therapists talk about resourcing, the four resources that we do, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. They're regulation strategies, they're brake pedals, and they're way to separate you from activation. Yeah. All right, page 14. There's not a lot more to say about phase three, except that we're going out of our way not to activate the memory. In phase three, we're selecting but not activating. Okay. After it's all over, for your records, you can ask the client what they worked on. After the memory's been resolved, they're going to be happy to tell you what they worked on. Okay. Generally. Okay. And you can have that for your notes. They're also going to remember what the SUDS was. Those of you that have done EMDR therapy, by the end of a session, when the SUDS is 0, you remember whether that was an 8-9 memory or whether that was a 2-3 memory. Does that make sense? You know, it's been in your nervous system forever. Clients will remember after. They can always let you know how big that memory was, even though now it is a 0. Make sense? Okay. Good, good, good. Page 15. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Clients indicate that they're there. You just to yourself. 1 Massachusetts, 2 Massachusetts, 3 Massachusetts, 4 Massachusetts, quietly, right? Silently, right? And then when you get to 5, say blink. And you know what I do? I have my hand on my leg, and every time I say blink, I do this. That's how I keep count of how many times I've said blink, and that lets me know when I get to my 5 times. So you say blink 5 times, 5 seconds apart, and then 5 seconds blink, 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 gives you 6 exposures to your pleasant scene. Okay. And we get to the end of it and we say, good. How did that go? Were you able to keep finding your way into the calm scene? And if the client says, oh no, my memory came in, a piece of the memory came in, what should I do? I'm like, okay, next time that happens, let me know as soon as it happens. Because that's an intrusion, right? So what we're going to do now is whatever came in, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Send it beyond Pluto. Send it way, 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 way away. Good. When it's gone, let me know. Good. Calm scene with blinks. See what I see? So when clients report activation, we need to process that activation with a round of calm scene with blinks. Okay? Good. 16, microactivate the memory. Page 16, step 5, microactivate the memory, contain what comes out, and then go back to step 4. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Client lets you know when it's gone, calm scene. So here's what we're not doing in step 5. Do you have a friend that's got a really good meditation voice? Imagine they're leading Flash and we're trying to go quickly, and then they go, okay, what I'd like you to do is think about the bad memory for just 1 millisecond. Can you see how that, that's just right. You see what I mean? We're directing. As a therapist, the client is doing very little talking. You're directing, 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 directing. We're like helping to get this pump going, and we're not trying to slow anything down. Also, you don't want your pace to be amping up your client's nervous system. Does that make sense? You don't want to be like, okay, quickly, think about that. You don't want to you don't want your energy to amp up the client, but we don't want to dawdle. We want to get this pump going, right? And we don't want to stop if we don't have to. Does that make sense? If we're not dealing with the stress, we're keeping things going. Good. So again, very quickly think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. And then after you've done this with a client for a while, what you can do is you can say, quickly think about the memory, whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it, let me know when it's gone, right? You can shorten it some. Okay, good. Couples work. I'm glad somebody brought up couples work. I've been seriously thinking about getting more training in couples just so that I can do Flash with couples. Do you know why? You know what happens in couples work most of the time? Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that do couples work. They have a rupture between sessions. And then what happens? If one of them gets overactivated, what happens? Best case scenario, worst case is they just go at it and things blow up. But even when they do what you ask them to do, which is when one of you is flooded, stop, disengage, go regulate yourselves, right? And then let the other person know when you're going to come back to resume the conversation. Isn't that what many, many people do in couples work? Okay. Now, do you know what happens when they come back most of the time? They may have regulated, but they have not changed the terms of the disagreement because fundamentally, what one of them needs to be okay is probably really triggering for the other and vice versa. So, you know what often happens? They re engage, they have the argument the second time. And then they go, well, forget this. We're just going to bring this to Janet. And then we're just going to have Janet tell us what we should do. And you know what? They come to therapy and then they have the argument with you the third time. Do you know what that sounds like? That sounds like that's confirming, not disconfirming. So if I were doing couples work, do you know what I would do? I would show both of them how to do flash. And the moment they have a rupture, I would have them go into separate rooms and do flash on what just happened. And then when they've both done that, or even when one of them has done that, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have them come back, and what you're going to talk about is what shifted inside you related to what just happened in that argument. And then your clients are going to come tell you about what they were able to work through because flash shifts the terms of the disagreement, right? Flash takes the heat out of the triggering that just happened. Okay, good. All right. It is 8:01. Let's take a, what do y'all want? 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes? Let's take a 5 minute break. Come back at 7 minutes after, and then we'll practice this. All right. Welcome back. All right, a little bit more content before we practice together. Page 17. Again, step 6, we're just walking through after we are doing our 5 fold lightly activate, contain, calm, lightly activate, container, calm scene blinks. We do this until the client says they're having a hard time finding what's distressing in the memory. Okay? And when the client has a hard time finding what's distressing in the memory, then we go to step 6 where we have them play the memory from the very first piece. And then whatever comes up, they're going to catch it, contain it, and then we're going to keep digesting each sequential piece of distress using calm scene with blinks until the client can play the whole video and there's no distress on any channel. Okay? Good. And then there's a future template, very similar to EMDR's future template. So what we do is, can you think of something that's related to the memory that you just completed that might happen in the next few weeks or months that would be helpful to explore? So guess what? If you live with a knucklehead, you're probably still going to be living with the knucklehead down the road. So if whatever you just worked on was an argument or a difficulty, they may do something similar down the road. So it's the future scene, and we're doing the same thing just in the future scene. Okay? We're doing the same exact thing just in the future scene. Give me one moment. So the way that sounds is we identify the future scene, fill it out a little bit, and we push it out of awareness. And then we say, good, very quickly, think about the future scene. Whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it. And we do this until you have a hard time finding what's distressing. And then you know what we do? We play the video of the future scene until you can play the whole future scene with no distress on any channel. And then you're done with that future scene. And what you're likely to say is your client's going to come back and say, my mother-in-law was in my kitchen doing her crazy dance, and I was there in my own body, not joining her. Do you see what I mean? And isn't that pretty darn cool? Right? Good. So that's the idea. Okay, in the future scene. Good. Once you have the other steps down, step 7, future scene is very, very, very easy. Okay. And processes pretty quickly. Where this version of Flash breaks, page 20, where this version of Flash breaks and how to fix it, you've guessed it, overactivation. Overactivation is really, really, really likely, right? That's why we have resources that we're just going to have to use in every session. We got to use them. Overactivation is also unavoidable. Does that make sense? It's unavoidable, it's inevitable, but it's also a problem. Does that make sense? It's a problem. So, do you see what we're trying to do? It's like trying to touch a hot skillet with a wet finger. Do you see what we want to do? We just want to go, ch, ch. But what we do is sometimes we go like, we don't actually touch it or we hold our finger on it. And both of those are no good. Okay, good. If containing is not working well, that is probably a byproduct of overactivation. Because if this is what comes out, this is easy to container. But if what comes out is a London street bus that feels like it's sitting on my chest, that's harder to container. Okay, so many times problems with containment float back to problems with overactivation. And if you have back-to-back overactivation body in your body, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not just continuing. What I'm going to say is we're going to deal with that activation. And then what I'm going to say is the next time you look at that memory, I want you to look at it 100 times faster than when you just looked at it. You were looking at the memory way too long. If it's coming out like wham, I need you to look at it 100 times faster. Okay? Because we can't keep having body activation, body activation, body activation, body activation. If we are, that sends the very strong message that that memory is too big today, right? That memory is bigger than what you're able to microactivate today. We need to find something smaller. Okay. Now, if at the very beginning of a session, the client has a huge wave of anxiety, you probably missed the part where you're asking about do all parts consent to doing this work? And then we're going to recheck that because a big wave of anxiety is a part of you going, I don't think this is a good idea. Sensible? Okay. So that is important. And if the client is saying this doesn't seem to be working 25, 30 minutes in, and they seem like you're doing what you're asking them to do, you can always ask, how engaging is your pleasant scene? The client may say, I've been bored with it for 20 minutes. Well, then that's the problem. You can't be bored with it. It's the pleasant scene has to shift your affective state. It has to. That's what makes it work. Okay? Good. Page 21, tips for a safe and effective practicum. Do not use an imaginary scene. Do not use an imaginary scene. You're probably borrowing that from EMDR. This is not EMDR. You don't have time to do an imaginary scene. Find a YouTube video. Okay? Find a YouTube video. It'll be okay. Okay? Um, be sensible about the memory that you want to work on this evening. It's Sunday. Y'all got to sleep tonight. Come on. Don't be crazy. Don't reach in your trauma container and grab the biggest bull or monster or whatever. Don't do that. It's Sunday evening. Let's chill, right? Don't. So find something that has some heat in it, but isn't existentially hot, that isn't going to rumble around in your dreams tonight if Flash doesn't work for you. Okay, good. Therapists are more annoyed by ads than clients are. And if you find you're doing a lot of Flash in session, upgrade to YouTube Premium. It'll cost you $100 a month, but you'll never see an ad. Okay, so it'll be okay. We're unlikely to outsmart the wizards at Google. Okay, so it's okay. If distress is present at any point, immediately stop and deal with that distress. Do not go forward until you've used a resource to deal with that distress, and the stress is largely moving away from you. You can also, if you aren't sure, if you're struggling and you're not exactly sure why, one of the things you can do for a few rounds is activate the memory every other time. When I say think about the memory, you can do that every other time just to give you more time in the calm scene to process. That's an option if you're having a little difficulty. In this version of Flash, we work one memory at a time, period. Why? Because if you let in two, what's going to stop 12? We work one thing at a time. We've selected. Do you know what? You know what else you cannot do on United Airlines? You cannot stop in St. Louis because you're flying over it. You can't. You have a destination, right? So we have a destination in this version of Flash. That's where we're going. Okay, unless it turns out that that destination's got a big old wildfire going on there and we can't land, right? So good. Good. Um, yeah, let me think what else is important. Let your eyes blink organically. Don't hold them open. Tom didn't say blink. Tom didn't say blink. No, let them blink organically. Those organic blinks to keep your eyes healthy, those don't count. It's only the purposeful that count. Make sense? Good. Let your eyes blink. Your eyes need to stay healthy. And again, you don't have to blink your eyes. You can look away. Okay. Page 22. This is only a tiny bit of it, but there's growing research into Flash. It's happening globally. Okay. And again, I'll be doing more of it in Cleveland next year. Flash research, original Flash research in Cleveland next year. Page 23, a little summary of words, troubleshooting tips for your clients, frequently asked questions. This is your training guide. It is also your treatment guide. Okay, page 29, places where you can go to learn more. Flash was developed originally by an EMDR therapist named Phil Manfield. You can train in the original version of Flash. Okay, he still teaches that. Other trainers are Ricky Greenwald's team. Does a Flash training. Train with them if you're interested. However, this version of Flash is probably the most deeply conceptualized, right? There's more on the Four Blinks website, free, publicly accessible, including this training. This whole training is on demand on the Four Blinks website anytime you want it. Okay, so every problem you might have, there's a video there that describes how to deal with it or navigate it. Okay, so you can also join the Flash Sandbox group. The link is on page 29 if you happen to be old enough to be on Facebook, right? Or not embarrassed to be on Facebook. There's a Flash Sandbox group that about 2,000 people that have taken this training, 2,000 out of the 20,000 something that have taken this training are there. You're welcome to be there. I do free consultation groups twice a month, and I have for years. Free consultation groups in Flash. The link to join those is at the bottom of that page on page 29. I do weekly free Flash processing groups where you can come and work on your own stuff like we're about to do for free weekly. Some therapists do free yoga. This is one of the things I do that's free to help keep therapists healthy. Okay, good. Excellent. Shall we practice this? Shall we practice this together? Are you clear on the big rule? If distress is coming, do not push into it. Stop, get out of sync with me. Mute me if you need to. Ground, ground, ground. We do not push into distress. If you're having difficulty at the very, very end, of the manual, there's um, at the very end of the manual, there's the safety sheet, right? The safety sheet. Well, maybe it's not at the very end, but there's a safety sheet that should walk you through any questions you may have. You can also message me. Message me, pull down, and I'll help you out. Okay? Good. Questions? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rounds in the calm scene. We're going to do 2 rounds in the calm scene, and only then are we going to think about the bad, only then are we going to select the bad memory. Okay? Okay, we're going to select the bad memory. And then once we do that, we're going to do another round in the calm scene, and then we're going to get going. Okay, and we're going to do this for probably 30 minutes. I'll check in on you and then ask questions when we'll make time for your questions when we're done. Okay? If you are somebody who's walking around barely keeping the lid on the trauma container in your brain, you're welcome to sit this out. So we're not making you do this, right? But if you have the resources in place, you want to see what this looks like, Try it. It's super cool. Okay. And if you have trouble, message me. Okay. Are you ready? Load up your calm scene, and your job is to just be in your calm scene. It's your calm scene that's healing you. Good. Good. Let's add some blinks. Good. Blink, and then just go right back into your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Let's do it again. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Is there a memory that you thought you'd want to work on? Is it an individual memory that happened at a particular place and time? And do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Check. And if not, negotiate with your parts to find a memory that is okay. And if so, just push it out of your awareness. Look at a blank wall, look at a ceiling if you need to blank it out. Then when it's gone, load up your calm scene. Go ahead, load up your calm scene. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. How are y'all doing? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Doing all right? All right, let's get going. Are you ready? Like between the claps is how quick. Like that's how quick we're looking at the bad memory. Here we go. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Use your hand. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Just really be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. If you have distress, manage it using a resource. Otherwise, be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Now's probably a good time, really quickly, just check your body and make sure you don't have any residual distress in that memory hanging out in your body. If you do, vacuum it out, wiggle away from it, do whatever you need to do to get some distance. Good. And if you found some distress, skip activation in our next round, okay? Because that's your activation. Okay. Otherwise, if you didn't find distress, really quickly think about the bad memory. Whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. And then everybody, when it's gone, calm scene. Just be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Good. Just be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? How are y'all doing? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Mm. Good. Blink, 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 and and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing okay? Good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. So be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Those of you that it feels like your memory's mostly resolved, you're not done until you play the video, right? Start playing the video and cleaning up any debris anywhere in the video of the memory. So when you can play the memory from beginning to end and there's no distress, that's when you're done. Okay, but those of you that are finding distress, we've only been doing this 10 minutes, right? Makes sense. So let's keep going. And then if you fully process the memory, hang out in your calm scene. Time's going to fly. Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing all right? Good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. How are things going? How are y'all doing? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Awesome. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay. How are y'all doing? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Doing all right? Okay, awesome. All right, very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Good. Just be in your calm scene. It's your only task. Be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing all right? Good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. So be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing okay? Excellent. Good. We're going to do this another probably 8 minutes. Okay, if you finished, hang out in your calm scene. But those of you that are still working, I assume there are people still working, right? We've only been doing this 15 minutes. Let's keep going. Good, lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing all right, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory. Whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Good. 5 minutes. Here we go. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. All right, maybe another 2 more minutes, right? Very quickly think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Last round. Very quickly think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, excellent. Good. How did that go? There's probably a logic for ending with closure, right? Anticipating that, other stuff may want to come and that you have full resources to deal with what may come. Good. Good. What was again, this may not have been enough time. That was only not even 30 minutes of processing, so you may have needed a little bit longer. Good. What was your response or what are you noticing in this process? Feel free to unmute. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Thomas, I noticed that I had to step away for just a little bit, but I noticed through the exercises, my like nervous system response seems more regulated.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Good. And if grief comes, I encourage you to feel it, right? Grief is the one thing. I jokingly said to somebody, oh, there's no crying in flesh. But if grief comes, because trauma work opens up grief, if grief comes, we let ourselves feel it, let the wave of grief come, right? And then we get back to our target. It's, as long as other waves of grief coming. Yeah. The memory should get harder to find what's distressing in it. That's a good thing. Does that make sense? That's what's an old memory supposed to feel like. It's supposed to not be like IMAXing into your awareness, right? Good. People with ADHD, it can be a mixed bag because people with ADHD generally don't struggle focusing on a really salient, pleasant scene. Right? A really engaging, pleasant scene. But you know what we have a lot of in Flash? We have a lot of task switching. There's a lot of do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. So remember that in this one, in this what we just did, it's group Flash. I can't get feedback from everybody. But if we're doing an individual session, I can say, how did that go? Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason clients can't bring their game system into session that you got to explain to parents that we're processing trauma, right? But there's no reason, you got to figure out how to write it up in your notes that CareSource or whatever's going to pay for. But yes, you can also watch their favorite YouTuber play their favorite piece of video game. Yeah. Yeah. Good. That's information. So if there wasn't enough time for you to access the memory, if we're working individually, there probably would be. Because individually, I'm saying very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. And I'm waiting for you to find it. Okay. And then when you find it, then I'm going to make sure you send it away quickly. And then I'm going to say, load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Right? So I can really tailor this. Good. Blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. So the problem with a group is I kind of have to target the median of the group. Does that make sense? And again, some people, so it may be that I'm not sure we're supposed to be pausing in between the calm scene. I don't know what do you mean? I don't know what pausing means. So the only thing you're doing in the calm scene is blinking and being in the calm scene. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does help. for activation to be over here. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing, send it away, and then turn back to the video. Yeah, that can be helpful. Yeah, good. Other questions? Yeah, that's fine. Also, so if you're pausing when I'm having you get in touch with the memory, that's fine. And then you go back and you press play. You can also try just letting it play and then I talk over it. But if there's talking in your video, the talking in your video may compete with my talking. And you know what? It may just be like, maybe too much. So you have to decide. Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. Also, this may be example of like trauma for some people doesn't want to come small, right? It may want to come. So, okay, let's practice microactivation. Is anybody here at a desk? Does the desk have a drawer? Can you open and close the drawer so quickly that you only see one thing? No? Keep trying. Does that make, do you see what we're doing? We're like, and it's hard, isn't it? You look at a memory and you want to see like, right? We have to practice microactivation. You can also have clients practice this in like a kitchen cabinet. Does that make sense? Where they just open and they try to see just one plate, right? You can do it like, right? You can do it like that. So we do need to practice microactivation because it is very, very non-intuitive, but, but, but it can be pretty helpful. Yeah. Yeah. Again, even though your clients, once you really get this down, your clients will process whatever they process, right? And they'll process a memory 19 times out of 20 in a single session. But there are sessions where we don't get done. But you know what happens when we didn't get done? We don't need to contain it. Do you know why? Because you didn't touch it. Does that make sense? We contain it in EMDR because in EMDR, it's kind of like a loaf of bread, and we dump all the loaves into working memory all at once. We have residue, right? You don't ever have a fire in your body in Flash because if you did, we're stopping and dealing with the fire. So it's almost like we're only processing a loaf at a time. And what we don't get out of the loaf, we don't need to contain. As a matter of fact, I don't want you to contain it. Do you know why? Because to contain something, you have to touch it. And I don't want you to touch it. It's already contained, it's already in your brain where trauma is. Leave it there. Make sense? Good, good. Yeah. Did this work for anybody? Lots of people struggle. Did it feel like you resolved something? And if you resolved something, check this, is there a belief about yourself that you feel more strongly related to that memory only? Okay. And do you believe it a little bit, a medium amount, or a small? I mean, a big amount. Most people believe it pretty strongly, that there is a belief that they believe about themselves pretty strongly related to that memory only, right? And you know what that means? You know what that is? That's reprocessing. That's healing. How you think about yourself and the world has shifted. Okay. And then when I realized that was happening in Flash, that's when I realized I had to do these trainings. And I've been doing them for almost 4.5 years, every 2 weeks, 4.5 years. Okay. So that's a big deal. Okay. If we can process trauma with people who have the smallest windows of tolerance, if we can process trauma pretty effectively, consistently, that's a big deal. And with little risk of decompensation, that's a big deal. Okay. I thought only EMDR shifted how you think about yourself in the world. No, healing does. EMDR is a good way to do healing. Flash is too, when you do it well. Okay. Also, don't leave debris in. So the video, really, the playing the videotape in step 6, really make sure that the memory generalizes as broadly as it can. You don't dig a tunnel from France to England and stop a mile short. Finish it. Finish it. Fully resolve it so that for decades, stuff can flow through that tunnel. Okay? Resolve it. Okay? And we're not doing this to make the perfect the enemy of the good. But in EMDR, we don't get things down to a 2 and just leave it there, right? We kind of fully process that thing. Yeah. Yeah, good. Your brain will. So, but part of the contract that we have with the client and part of the contract that we have with the client's parts is we work one memory at a time. Okay? So when you're working with your clients, we work one memory at a time. Because again, if you let in 2, what's to keep 20? And then that's a lot of territory. Okay. Yeah. There are versions of Flash where you can kind of do bulk Flash. But here's the other thing. Why do I want to select a memory and resolve one memory? Because when one memory resolves, lots of other things that want to come are going to resolve through generalization. Resolving a memory, no matter how you do it, resolves other things. Memories generalize in Flash. Why? Because that's what healing does. Healing creates new learning in your nervous system that trickles through your nervous system. It shapes the subsequent predictions that you may make in this territory. Good. Questions? Those of you that are interested in learning more about predictive processing, I have a free book club. And we just finished up one of the books, but we're starting Lisa Feldman Barrett's How Emotions Are Made. And that's a super cool book. If you're interested in this, I'll put the link to the book club. The book club's for free. Book club's free. I'll put that in chat. You're welcome to join the book club if you would like. There's some really pretty cool people in the book club. You're welcome to join the book club if you're interested in like learning more about predictive processing. If not, that's okay. Good. Do you remember the page I was pointing to about how to learn more? Do y'all know where to find the free consultation groups that I do? Come to those. It's helpful, right? I do 26 times a year. I do free consultation groups. Come to some. Awesome. All right. Thank you all for coming. I'm gonna wind down because I'm an introvert that's been extroverting all day today. So I'm gonna wind down. Come back. This video will be on my YouTube channel later tonight. So if you want to rewatch parts of it, feel free to come back. All right. Thanks everybody. See you soon.